Let's picture Jessica for a second. Every single Sunday night, before the week starts, it's the exact same routine. She opens her banking app, she stares at the balance. She does all that mental gymnastics, right? Rent is due on Thursday, car insurance on Friday, credit card minimum next week. She closes the app, only to open it again 5 minutes later. And, surprise, absolutely nothing has changed. She does this 3, maybe 4 times a night. Well, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving deep into the biological trap of financial anxiety and, way more importantly, exactly how you can regain control of your life.
Quick pause before we really get into it. Just remember, this explainer is strictly for educational and informational purposes. It is not a substitute for professional mental health or financial advice. If you're experiencing severe anxiety, please definitely reach out to a licensed professional. Okay, let's get started. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover the financial anxiety epidemic, your brain on money, the 3 types of worriers, the 5-step action plan, and finally, how to stop thinking and start doing.
Section 1. The Financial Anxiety Epidemic. Why we worry.
So think back to Jessica for a moment. That constant, relentless worry. It's like this low-level hum of financial dread that just never fully goes away. If you can relate to that, you really need to hear this staggering number, 96. According to recent data, Americans spend the equivalent of 96 days a year just worrying about money. Think about that for a second. That is literally a quarter of your year completely lost. Not spent fixing your finances, not building a business, not hanging out with your family, just sitting there in a state of dread. That costs you time, sleep, and your mental health, all without actually solving a single problem. And it's incredibly common. Gallup and Experian data actually reveal that personal finances are the #1 source of anxiety in America today, sitting right at 59%. It even beats out uncertainty about the future and current events. It's driving people to skip social outings, and honestly, this next part is shocking. Nearly 20% of people have postponed medical or dental care simply because they felt they couldn't afford it. Financial anxiety is quite literally making us physically and socially sicker.
Section 2. Your brain on money, the neuroscience of stress.
Now, I want to make something super clear right out of the gate. Feeling this way is absolutely not a character flaw. It's just biology. It's a natural biological response to genuinely difficult economic circumstances, things like crazy inflation and rising housing costs. But here's the really tragic irony. This exact biological response actually forces us to make things way worse. See, when you're anxious, your brain basically shifts into full-on threat response mode. Your amygdala, which is your brain's built-in alarm system, completely hijacks the wheel. And when it does that, it actually suppresses your prefrontal cortex. That's the specific part of your brain responsible for rational planning, delayed gratification, and clear decision-making. Basically, the exact tools you desperately need to fix your finances. Your own brain is literally making it harder to do the things that would actually reduce your anxiety.
As clinical psychologist Dr. Joseph Trinzo explains, this biological hijack leads straight to avoidance behaviors or, on the flip side, compulsive overspending. And let me tell you, avoidance is the worst possible coping mechanism. When you avoid looking at your accounts just because the number is scary, well, interest compounds, late fees stack up, and totally manageable problems mutate into absolute crises. This kind of desperation is actually what pushes 15% of anxious Americans into high-risk gambles or crypto moonshots, which of course just deepens the whole cycle of panic.
Section 3. 3 types of money warriors. Which are you?
We have got to break this cycle. And to do that, we first need to figure out exactly how you, uniquely, process financial stress. Let's look at 3 distinct types. First up, we have the realistic worrier. This person has genuine financial problems. We're talking real debt, income shortfalls, or emergencies they simply can't cover. Their anxiety isn't them just catastrophizing. It's an incredibly accurate perception of real risk. So if this is you, you honestly don't need breathing exercises or some magical mindset shift. You need a concrete roadmap, like a debt payoff plan or a sit-down with a credit counselor, to reduce what is an entirely justified anxiety.
Next up is the disproportionate worrier. Now, this person actually has totally manageable finances. They pay their bills, they even have a bit of a buffer, but they feel this constant, outsized anxiety anyway. They're checking their bank app multiple times a day and losing sleep over completely hypothetical emergencies. If this sounds familiar, the problem usually traces back to a scarcity mindset, past trauma, or childhood insecurity. You would benefit the most from therapy and tools designed to really update your psychological relationship with money.
And finally, we have the information avoider. This is the person who simply refuses to know the true state of their finances. They cope with their massive anxiety by just not looking. No bank statements, no credit card balances. The dread is completely paralyzing. If this is you, your crucial first step is terrifying, but absolutely necessary. You have to look. You have to conquer the fear of the actual number itself, because you cannot plan for what you are too afraid to see.
Section 4. The 5-Step Action Plan. A framework for relief.
Now that you've figured out your worry type, let's get into the concrete prescription to pull you out of this trap. We are going to use this highly actionable 5-step framework, and listen to me closely here. You need to do these in this exact order to systematically dismantle your financial panic. Let's break them down.
Step 1 is to shatter your avoidance. Carve out 2 hours this weekend and do a complete financial inventory. Write down every single balance, every debt, every obligation you have. Yes, it's going to be terrifying, but I promise you the actual number is always less frightening than that undefined dread you've been carrying around. Step 2, identify your single biggest problem. Not your top 10, just one. Maybe it's credit card debt, maybe it's zero savings. Pick one thing and make it your singular, absolute focus for the next 90 days.
Moving to step 3, which is building a $1,000 circuit breaker. Look, this isn't because $1,000 magically solves all of life's problems. It's because this money acts as a literal circuit breaker. When that next unexpected car repair or surprise medical bill hits, it doesn't immediately go straight onto a high-interest credit card, which would just restart your entire anxiety and debt cycle all over again. It protects your finances and takes away that desperate urgency that usually drives really bad decisions.
To round out the framework, step 4 is to automate. Put your fixed bills, your savings, and your retirement contributions on autopilot. Doing this removes the massive daily mental load of managing your money, and honestly, less mental energy spent means less anxiety felt. Finally, step 5, limit your media consumption. The 24-hour financial news cycle is quite literally designed to make you anxious so you keep watching. Limit your financial news to just a weekly check-in so you aren't constantly triggering your brain's threat response.
Section 5. Stop thinking, start doing. The danger of rumination.
Once you actually have this framework in hand, there is a massive pitfall you have got to avoid: rumination. That's when you repeatedly think or talk about a problem without actually moving toward a resolution, and all it does is amplify your dread. Action, even the tiniest, smallest possible action, is vastly more effective at reducing financial anxiety than thinking, talking, or even watching explainers like this one about the problem. Taking concrete steps shifts your entire identity from someone who is overwhelmed and helpless to someone who is actively in control of their life.
And I want to make absolutely sure you know that you don't have to do all of this alone. If your anxiety is severely impacting your sleep, your relationships, or your physical health, you do not have to choose between financial help and mental help. Thankfully, professional resources exist for both. The National Foundation for Credit Counseling offers free or really low-cost concrete financial planning, and the Open Path Collective provides incredibly affordable therapy options. Both sides of this coin really deserve your attention.
So the bottom line today is this: you need to reclaim those 96 days of lost time. The antidote to your anxiety isn't just telling yourself to stop worrying. It's stopping the avoidance. It's moving directly toward the problem instead of running away from it. It's doing your inventory, setting up that circuit breaker, and taking small, relentless actions right in the direction of your biggest financial hurdle.
Now, I want to hear from you. Let's have a totally honest, completely no-judgment conversation down in the comments. Does money anxiety affect your sleep, and how does it show up in your daily life? I will be right down there reading and responding.
If this explainer brought you some value today and helped you understand your own mind a bit better, please go ahead and hit that like button. Share this with a friend or a family member who might really need to hear it right now, and definitely make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next explainer on Thursday, where we dive into the massive household debt bomb. Until then, I want you to ask yourself, what is the very first step you are going to take today to stop avoiding your financial reality?